Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. These are new watches newly released, but because my company and Bethune, the manufacturer, are conjoined at the hip, I can help you out one way or the other. Production will be extremely limited, likely to less than 10 pieces a year, so please express your interest early and often. Because today, I'm proud to introduce the 2024 Bethune DB Kind of 2 Grande Complication, a watch that includes an extraordinary amount of features, a movement of over 500 pieces, and a case that, frankly, will make you flip your lid. Are you interested? Stay with me. This is a watch that builds on the Kind of 2 tradition, which started with a tourbillon, expanded to a GMT, and now, the most exclusive and complicated yet, we have a watch that employs the famed Bethune floating lugs with a combination of a moon phase in spherical form, a perpetual calendar, deadbeat seconds, and a 36,000 vibration per hour 30-second tourbillon. Let's start with the basics. The watch is all titanium and sapphire, so it's lighter than you would expect for a diameter of 43.3 millimeters. I measure it at 16.4 millimeters thick, and actually two ways to measure this. We have floating lugs, so they're not fixed. At their maximum extension, they have a wingspan of 54.6 millimeters. If you compress them, they have a span of 52.2, and the spacing between the lugs is 26 millimeters. Don't let that hold you up, though, because at Bethune there are a couple of different lug sizes, so if this isn't the lug span you want, there might be one that fits better. Now, on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, I can say this is the right lug set for me. The watch looks good, it feels good. It is not thin, but it is light, so it's easy to wear, and you can see how the lugs sort of conform to the wrist, so they don't force you to conform to the watch. It works the right way with the machine conforming to the man. Now over the top, you can see the lugs are not down over the edge of my wrist. Down the barrel, you can see again that they're not overhanging. I'd say on these lugs, you go as small as 15 centimeters circumference. Taking a look at the strap, you can see that relatively large, broad, custom-cut strap is the order of the day. Matte finish, large rectangular scale, symmetrical scale alligator leather, so an expensive cut of the animal. You could see a shear cut size showing the edge, the shear cut side showing you the top and bottom layers of leather. On the bottom, calfskin, no crimping, no gouging. This is a brand new Bethune factory strap. Jean Rousseau also makes the OEM straps for FP Journe, so where better straps are made, Jean Rousseau will make them. We have a buckle here that's designed to match the aesthetic of the lugs. That's always the case with Bethune watches, so you can see we have a buckle here in titanium to match the case, the lugs specifically. Now, about these floating lugs, you can see they're open, evacuated, airy, almost buttress-like. They have these little bullet tips at the end. Now, this is the last styling vestige remaining from the original 2002 DB1 chronograph, the company's first product. With the exception of the Dream watches and the DB20 series, this cue has appeared on almost every Bethune watch since, and so it is reprised here. Now, this is also grade 5 titanium, which is awesome stuff. First, it'll take a polish, grade 2 won't, but it has the hypoallergenic qualities and the lighter than steel mass of grade 2 titanium. What it also has that grade 2 doesn't have is scratch resistance. It's both more scratch resistant than grade 2 and more scratch resistant than steel. And in my experience, the most durable finish on grade 5 titanium is polish, which we have here. Now you can see there's basically no bezel. The case is constructed in two halves that fit together, top to bottom. Both crystals are almost completely flat, so you could argue that this watch has no bezel or no case. It's either all case or it's all bezel, depending on your perspective. We have pusher adjusters. For example, here we have an adjuster for the day. Here we have an adjuster for the moon. And then we have a quick set system that allows us to rapidly set the date. This is the pusher adjuster for the month. The Bethune perpetual calendar has evolved over the years to the point where there is now a quick set mechanism that allows you to rapidly cycle the date. So let me put it in quick set mode. You can see how I'm rapidly cycling the date. But now watch the month as I approach the turn of the month. This is the month down here. See how it makes the jump? So this quick settable capability makes it a lot easier to set this calendar than it was in the past. Interesting fact about de Bethune, everything's made in-house. The dials, the movements, even the balance wheels. The cases are made in-house. And the reason is dial suppliers don't want to hear that you want, I don't know, 5 kind of two Grande Complication dials per year. That might be all that gets made, and each one might be unique because the band of the cosmos across the center of the fired blue titanium dial, that's customizable. Now, by default, it's going to be the sky over L'Aubusson, Switzerland on the night de Bethune was founded in 2002. But since all these watches are going to be bespoke, we're going to want to know what place and time is important to you. So here's how it works. The distant celestial bodies in the Milky Way band, those are gold leaf. The near stars, the large bodies, and the planets of our solar system, those are all little blocks of white gold. You can see they're three-dimensional. They're inserted into the dial. So they're actually wonderful full-featured cabochon of white gold. We have a little matte ring for the date, and you can see that there's a fluted hand that sits inside of that. We have modified rose gold Breguet hands, and then we have a gilt-style gold on blue printing for the month and the day discs. This is our leap year phase indicator that'll turn dark when we're in the 4th year of the sequence, and we have a patented moon phase that is spherical. It starts all white. The two hemispheres are identical until it's fired over a bed of brass shavings atop an oil lamp fire, and then the steel half turns dark blue and the palladium remains white. Now, this only needs to be corrected once every 122.7 years, and you better believe that's patented. It's also beautiful, being three-dimensional and standing proud of the dial. What else do we have? Well, a lot more. We have this toroidal track outboard, very classical, against which you can read the minutes as well as the hours, radially arrayed Arabic and Roman numerals, and you can see a watchmaker's 4 right there. The process of making this dial is to first take a disc of grade 5 titanium and polish it to an absolute mirrored shine. If you've heard of black polish, that's what we have here. It turns black from every angle except the one angle at which it reflects light. So you can see that transition from black to mirrored shine. The bluing of titanium with flame is an in-house specialty at de Bethune. Now we will do what this watch does so well. This is why it's the kind of two dials. Now the movement here is actually related to the DB 2509 that debuted on the 2013 DB16, and in fact, if we jump back to the dial side, you'll see it represents a DB16 that's been turned 90 degrees. So you take the crown of the DB16, you turn it 90 degrees, the crown moves from 3 to 6, the date moves from 6 to 9, so that's what has happened right here. But it is not the same movement. This one features a case back that includes a deadbeat. On the DB16, it would have been on the front, and then it also includes a second set of hands. You could see these very fine, fired blue Breguet-style hands. They're designed to be very fine, and in the case of the hour hand, skeletonized, so you can more easily appreciate your view of the movement. Now, at center, we have a unique deadbeat system that includes a separate locking pallet lever, and then 2 coaxial 14-karat rose gold wheels that have a spring in between them. So that has a 1 hertz beat rate, or 1 beat per second. Now, a feature you won't find on many de Bethune watches, in fact 2 of them, center seconds and hacking seconds. When you activate hacking seconds, you stop the seconds hand, allowing this watch to be synchronized to the nearest second. And that's important because at de Bethune, tourbillon regulators are not just pretty or nostalgic. They have to be functional. De Bethune tourbillon watches are generally rated to run better than 1 second a day, so you need to be able to set the watch to a tolerance of 1 second. You can see how bang on that is aligned with the indices. Now, the watch also includes a tourbillon that is the lightest in the world. It makes 1 circuit every 30 seconds instead of every 60, so it moves at twice the speed, and it beats at 36,000 vibrations per hour, so 5 hertz versus the conventional 3 or even 2.5 hertz that you see on other tourbillon. Again, it is designed for chronometry. You could see that it is made of a combination of blue titanium, pale blue silicon, and then white gold masses. The lightest tourbillon carriage in the world, made of 64 parts. It weighs only 18 hundredths of a gram. That is less than 0.2 of a gram. And you can see that there's a mirrored platform underneath it to reflect more light onto it. We have 2 barrels, self-adjusting, that's patented. The balance is patented, the tourbillon is patented, the twin self-adjusting barrels are patented. And this is important, self-adjusting, so you cannot accidentally overwind them. That's a big problem with really expensive manual wind watches, and cheap ones too. It's just more expensive when the watch is pricey. Here you have no concerns. On the case back, there is a little age of the moon setter. So if you don't know how to set a moon phase, I've got my tricks, but you can just start with the new moon at the little dot before 1. Look up the age of the moon, or the number of days that the moon has been aging, and if it's 9, you simply adjust this little index to 9, and the moon phase on the front will assume the correct orientation. So that's a unique feature. Over on the opposite side, we have a power reserve indicator. The red disappears when it's fully wound. In spite of the power-intensive complications in 2 dials, this watch still has 4 days of power reserve. It is incredibly finished, starting with little things you might not notice at first, such as the fact that the teeth of the ratchet wheel over the barrel, they are micro-beveled with an internally mirrored shine, like something you'd find on Lang und Heine or Ferdinand Berthoud, or for that matter, low-volume brands like Kari Voutilainen. Now, we also have enormous black-polished swaths of steel. You could see this bridge mirror-finished, the cap to the base plate mirror-finished. On most watches, even ones costing 6 and 7 figures, the biggest mirror-finished part you'll find might be a regulator or a screw. Here, it's almost big enough that you can see yourself in the black polished surfaces. Take a look at the jewel sink, internally beveled. Take a look at this bridge for the deadbeat system. It's been media blasted and fired blue, with all screw heads black polished, their slots and circumference chamfered. We have satination on the wheels. You could see that the 14-karat gold escape wheels have been micro-polished and beveled internally. And then we have the anchor for the deadbeat system with a polished chevron at the top. Its surfaces satinated on the top and beveled on the side. You can just see, sorry about that, you could just see the side bevel of the actual anchor. It exhausts possibilities. Look carefully, and you can see Côte de Bethune stripes under the deadbeat mechanism. Look at the bevels on the edge of the barrel bridge. Look how broad and mirrored they are. All this is 30 meters water resistant, so, don't go swimming with it. You can get a DB28 Grand Sport or Grand Bleu for that. But for all other occasions, you've got this very extravagant dial that tells you the time, and you have this more conservative dial, but both of them are sensational. Remember, only a handful of these are going to be made. So if you want one, it's not going to be limited to a certain number per year, but if the company is able to put out 3 to 5 a year, and you wind up ordering number 15, that's going to be quite a wait. So reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.